Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of the Independence course. This course is going to be dedicated to creating independence between our limbs and so between our legs and feet and hands, or one hand and one foot against the other hand and foot. All these exercises are inspired by Thomas Lang, Virgil Donati, and all these kind of drummers who made great methods on developing this kind of independence, which can be very useless if used in certain ways, but instead if we use it as a gym to train our independence, then this will open a lot our coordination for when we have to play. So we basically, with these exercises, we're going to raise the bar of the difficulty of the things that we play, so that when we play over regular stuff, what we play, it's going to be easier, because we are already training harder stuff, and it will allow us to have less fatigue in playing other stuff. So today we're going to see the first independence workout, which is going to be only basically working on singles. So we're going to start playing single strokes rolls alternated with our bass drum, so alternating our feet, and we'll play different stickings on top of this. We will start using just the bass drums and the snare drum to make it easier, and then from there we're going to change the position of our hands and use different surfaces also on our feet, so that we start to change the sound, and we make it harder and harder for us, because then when we play and we change the sounds and we hear different sounds, things can start be complicated, and we have to get used to that. So we will start playing single strokes roll on the bass drum and single stroke roll with our hands on top of it, and then we will start playing accents to create some variations. Let's see how this works. So this can be pretty simple, but right now the part of the body that we're using at this speed are bigger muscles, so leg motion and mainly arm motion. But then if we speed this up and we shift the control to smaller muscles, so for example the ankles, let's see what happens. So as we shift the control to smaller muscles, we will start feeling that it's way harder to control the spaces between the notes, the dynamics, putting the accent exactly where you want, keeping the balance, and all this stuff, and especially on the bass drum, because we're controlling with our ankles and not with our legs. So this is the first step of controlling the single stroke notes, playing the feet against the hands. Let's now change the position a lot. Let's play right hand on the right, left hand on the snare, right foot on the bass drum, and left foot on, for example, a little snare that I've put to create a variation of sound. And let's see what happens. Or let's try now to have the right hand on the snare and the left hand on the hi-hat. Let's now speed this up, shifting the control to smaller muscles. If we speed this even more to an extreme speed, we will basically play a blast beat. Let's see an example of how this would sound if we played very fast. So, as we could hear, this becomes a blast beat basically, and it becomes also a blast beat on our between our kick and snare. So you can really start to be creative with this just by changing some sounds, and it's just single strokes with some accent thrown around. And when instead we shift the right hand on the snare drum, we basically created a gravity blast between the two snares, because with my hands I was playing the downbeat on the snare, and with my foot I was playing the upbeat on the other snare. So that makes a gravity blast basically. So you can really get creative, start playing this slowly, controlling it with bigger muscles, and trying to find as many solutions as possible with our hands, and then speed it up, and then again change the sound, move your hands. If you don't have a snare mounted that way, you can use any other kind of instrument. You can use the hi-hat, you can put a clave, whatever you feel like you want to play. And then once you do that, you speed it up and control it with smaller muscles. So have fun with this. This is just single against single, changing surfaces where we're playing on. You can go on the toms, you can put different hi-hats, you can get inspired from these great drummers like Thomas Lang and all these people. But again, remember to do the work of shifting from the bigger muscles to the smaller muscles, because that's also the hard part of this exercise. As you can see, I use the leg motion, the heel up, and the swivel technique on my feet to play the different speeds. So I've applied this to different techniques, and on the hands I've mainly used wrist motion, accenting with like the Muller motions, but you can use fingers, you can use the push-pull, you can use many different techniques. The more you do, the more techniques you use, the more combination you find, the more you improve your independence and coordination, and will help you to unlock your hands and the freedom for you to play whatever you feel like playing without having to practice every time each combination, each pattern that you come up with. So have fun, have a good practice, and I'll see you next time.